Have you ever felt like something inside you is quietly draining your energy, like an unseen force, a shadow lurking just beneath the surface of your mind and heart, silently shaping your thoughts, your emotions, your actions? This shadow isn't just a feeling, it's a powerful part of your psyche made of fear, anger, regret, and unresolved pain. For many men, this shadow dominates their energy without them even realizing it, holding them back from the man they want to become, the man they were meant to be. But here's the hard truth no one talks about. Until you confront this shadow and take control, it will continue to sabotage your success, your relationships, and your peace of mind. It's easy to blame outside circumstances or other people, but the real battlefield lies within. The great warriors of history, Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire with wisdom and calm, Miyamoto Musashi, the undefeated swordsman who mastered himself before defeating others, Nelson Mandela, who spent decades imprisoned yet emerged with unbreakable spirit, they all understood this truth deeply. They faced their shadows head-on, transforming their inner darkness into a source of strength. This video will reveal the unmistakable signs that your shadow no longer controls your energy. You'll discover how to know when you've broken free from its grip, how your mindset shifts, and how your energy begins to flow differently, calmer, stronger, more focused. And most importantly, you'll learn how to keep this power and sovereignty over your inner world every single day. This isn't vague philosophy, it's real, practical wisdom designed to change your life from the inside out. So before we dive in, take a moment to hit that like button, share this video with a brother who needs to hear this message, subscribe for more powerful and timeless wisdom, and comment below about your own journey with your shadow. Your voice helps build this tribe and keeps the message alive. Now let's step fully into the light of awareness and start reclaiming your energy, because the man you want to become is waiting on the other side. Chapter 1. Understanding the shadow and its power. Have you ever felt a part of yourself that you don't fully understand? An invisible weight pulling you down, whispering doubts in your mind, or stirring anger when you least expect it? This is your shadow. It's not some mystical concept reserved for philosophers or psychologists. It's a real force within every man, born from your fears, your past wounds, your unhealed pain, and the parts of yourself you try to hide, even from yourself. Carl Jung, the father of modern psychology, described the shadow as the unconscious side of your personality, the parts you reject or deny. It's everything you don't want to admit about yourself. Jealousy, shame, insecurity, anger, even dark desires. Yet this shadow isn't your enemy. It's a source of raw energy and power waiting to be understood and integrated. History is full of men who wrestled with their shadows and either fell victim or rose triumphant because of them. Take Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor known for his Stoic philosophy. He governed one of the most powerful empires in history, yet he was painfully aware of his own flaws and inner battles. In his meditations, he writes about the importance of self-mastery and understanding one's nature. Marcus knew that unchecked emotions and hidden fears could lead to ruin, not just for himself, but for those he led. Then there's Miyamoto Musashi, Japan's legendary samurai and undefeated duelist. Musashi's story isn't just about swordsmanship, it's about conquering the inner battlefield. In his Book of Five Rings, he speaks about embracing the shadow, recognizing your fears and weaknesses and transforming them into strength. Musashi's calm and decisive energy came from understanding his darkest impulses, not running from them. In modern times, consider Nelson Mandela. Imprisoned for 27 years, Mandela endured unimaginable hardship. Yet, rather than letting bitterness or hatred consume him, he confronted the shadow of anger and resentment within himself. Mandela transformed his pain into a force for reconciliation and leadership, eventually guiding South Africa through peaceful transition. His energy was no longer dominated by shadow, but was a beacon of hope and resilience. The shadow's power lies in its ability to drain your energy when it goes unrecognized. Imagine trying to fill a bucket with water, but there's a hole at the bottom you don't see. No matter how much water you pour, the bucket never fills. That hole is your shadow, sapping your energy, focus, and motivation without your awareness. But what does this look like in real life? You might find yourself reacting angrily to small triggers, road rage, harsh words from a colleague, or criticism from a friend. Or you may notice feelings of jealousy when others succeed where you struggle. Sometimes the shadow shows as self-sabotage, procrastination, giving up too soon, or making excuses. I remember a story from a friend, a man who struggled with relationships. Every time he got close to someone, his insecurities whispered, "You're not good enough," and his anger flared when he felt misunderstood. His shadow ruled his energy, pushing people away. It wasn't until he faced these fears directly, acknowledging the pain of past rejection and the bitterness it bred, that he began to break free. Slowly, his energy changed. He became calmer, more present, and more confident. Understanding your shadow means first recognizing its presence. It requires brutal honesty with yourself and the courage to explore uncomfortable emotions. But this process also offers tremendous rewards. When you shine a light on your shadow, you start to reclaim energy wasted on internal conflict. You build resilience, self-awareness, and emotional intelligence, the very traits that define powerful men. So, here's the first life lesson. Your shadow is not your enemy. It is a part of you, a complex, often messy part, but one that holds the key to your personal power. Ignoring it gives your shadow control. Facing it, owning it, and transforming it is the path to freedom. As Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Your shadow is the obstacle, but it's also your way forward. Comment below, "I own my shadow's power." Chapter 2. Recognizing the signs you're still controlled by your shadow. To break free from the shadow's grip, the first step is honest recognition. You can't fix what you don't see. Your shadow often controls your energy in subtle, almost invisible ways. It shows up as habits, emotional reactions, and thoughts that seem automatic but quietly rule your life. Understanding these signs is crucial because they are the chains keeping you from true freedom. One of the most common signs is reactive anger. Think of the great Greek philosopher Epictetus, a Stoic who taught about control and acceptance. He warned that men waste their energy reacting to things outside their control. When you feel anger rising at minor irritations, traffic jams, a careless word, or a delayed message, you're feeding your shadow. This anger is like a wildfire consuming your calm energy and leaving destruction behind. Another sign is constant self-doubt or insecurity. History is filled with men who overcame massive doubt but recognized it as a shadow influence. Take Abraham Lincoln, a man famously haunted by self-doubt and melancholy. Yet he used this inner struggle as fuel, not fuel to give up. When you find yourself questioning your worth, your decisions, or your path too often, your shadow is still in the driver's seat. Jealousy and envy are also shadow signals. When you compare yourself to others and feel resentment instead of inspiration, it's a warning your energy is being drained. The shadow loves to trap you in this toxic mindset, blinding you to your own potential. Real power comes from focusing inward, not outward. Procrastination and self-sabotage are subtle, dangerous signs of shadow dominance. You might make plans but never follow through or push away opportunities because of fear disguised as excuses. This is the shadow whispering you're not ready, or you don't deserve this. Many famous men have battled these urges. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times but refused to let his shadow win. Then there's emotional numbness or avoidance, when you shut down feelings to protect yourself. This might look like avoiding confrontation, suppressing sadness, or hiding vulnerability. While it feels like protection, it actually strengthens the shadow by keeping you disconnected from your true self. I once met a man who described his life as a series of shields, defensive walls built to hide from pain and rejection. But those walls became prisons. His shadow thrived in the isolation and control. Only after he began facing his fears and discomfort, allowing himself to feel fully, did his energy shift. The signs of shadow control faded, replaced by a growing sense of peace and strength. Recognizing these signs is not about judgment or shame, it's about awareness and responsibility. The moment you admit, "This is happening inside me," you begin the process of transformation. It's a call to arms in your internal battle. Here's the second life lesson. If you see reactive anger, jealousy, self-doubt, procrastination, or emotional numbness controlling your reactions and energy, your shadow still dominates. But awareness is power. Each sign you notice is an opportunity to step back, breathe, and reclaim control. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your shadow is not outside you, it's within. Recognize its signs to regain your strength. Comment below, "I recognize the signs of my shadow's control." Chapter 3. Signs your shadow no longer dominates your energy. There comes a moment in every man's journey when he begins to feel something shift inside. Not suddenly, and not all at once, but gradually, like clouds parting after a long storm. That shift is the beginning of freedom from shadow control. It's the moment when the energy that was once trapped in fear, shame, and self-sabotage begins to move differently, more freely, more purposefully. One of the first signs is emotional clarity. You begin to feel your emotions without being ruled by them. Anger still comes, but instead of exploding outward or turning inward like poison, you observe it. You use it as data, not a directive. You no longer snap at people because of a passing mood. You don't bottle it up either, you channel it. That's strength. When a man has truly faced the darkest parts of himself, he doesn't come out swinging at the world. He emerges composed. He doesn't seek to repay pain with more pain. Instead, he walks forward with resolve. He remembers the storms he's endured, but no longer lets them direct his actions. His power doesn't come from vengeance or reaction. It comes from deep, internal alignment. That's not just emotional maturity. It's energetic mastery. That's the level you're evolving into. Another sign? You stop over-explaining yourself. When the shadow controls your energy, you're constantly seeking approval, validation, and reassurance. But when you face the darkest parts of yourself and accepted who you are, flaws and all, you no longer need to convince the world. You become grounded. Silent confidence replaces noisy insecurity. You also begin to choose peace over chaos. This doesn't mean weakness or passivity. It means power through discipline. You walk away from drama. You don't chase people who devalue your time or play games with your emotions. Your energy becomes sacred to you. You protect it, just as a king protects his kingdom. In relationships, your dynamic shifts. You no longer look for someone to complete you because you feel whole within yourself. This is a massive turning point. When your shadow dominated, you might have craved attention, feared abandonment, or sought validation from others. But now you enter relationships from a place of strength, not lack. You give love freely, but your self-worth doesn't rise or fall based on someone else's behavior. One man I coached had struggled for years with codependency. Every time a woman withdrew, he felt like he was crumbling inside. But after deep inner work, he began to recognize that the fear of abandonment was rooted in his childhood, his shadow. When he finally faced that wound instead of hiding from it, something changed. He no longer begged for love. He no longer collapsed when someone walked away. He stood firm, grounded, centered. That's when he truly became magnetic, not because he was trying, but because he had become sovereign. Your energy becomes more present. You stop living in your head, regretting the past, fearing the future. You start living in this moment. That shift changes everything. People feel it. You walk into a room, and your presence speaks louder than your words. Even your posture changes, not in some superficial, performative way, but deeply, because your nervous system is no longer in constant fight or flight mode. Your body starts to trust you again. That's not just mental transformation, it's physical. The shadow no longer owns your nervous system. You also begin to attract different experiences. This isn't mystical, it's psychological and energetic. When you're no longer operating from wounded patterns, you stop repeating the same painful cycles. Toxic relationships fade, destructive habits lose their grip, you start making different choices, more aligned, more powerful, more intentional. And when life hits you hard, and it still will, you respond instead of react. That's a major sign of mastery. You don't panic, you don't collapse, you center yourself, you assess, you act. That's what Musashi meant when he said, "Fixation is the way to death. Fluidity is the way to life." You've become fluid, you've become adaptable, you've become unshakable. Another deep sign is self-forgiveness. A man ruled by his shadow holds on to guilt and shame like a shield. He punishes himself over and over, but when your shadow no longer dominates you, you begin to truly forgive yourself. Not because you ignore your past, but because you've learned from it. You've mined it for gold, for lessons, for strength. You look in the mirror and see a man who has fallen and risen. A man who is not perfect, but powerful. So here's the third life lesson. You'll know your shadow no longer dominates your energy when your peace becomes louder than your pain, when your presence becomes stronger than your fears, and when your choices reflect who you are, not who you were trying to hide. That's the essence of freedom. Comment below. I choose presence over pain. Chapter 4. How to maintain sovereignty over your energy and shadow. Breaking free from your shadow's grip is a profound victory, but maintaining that freedom is a lifelong commitment. The shadow doesn't disappear overnight. It waits patiently for moments of weakness to reclaim control. True mastery lies in cultivating habits, mindset, and awareness that keep your energy sovereign and your shadow integrated. One of the most powerful tools comes from Stoic philosophy, the practice of daily reflection. Marcus Aurelius, writing his Meditations while leading an empire, constantly reminded himself to stay vigilant over his thoughts and actions. He viewed every challenge as a chance to strengthen his inner fortress. For you, this means starting each day with intention. What kind of energy will you bring? What shadows might try to sneak in? By setting this mental guard, you train yourself to notice when old patterns begin to resurface. Another key habit is emotional regulation, not suppression, but mastery. Miyamoto Musashi's philosophy teaches us to face fear, anger, and doubt without letting them dictate our actions. When you feel a shadow emotion arise, pause, observe it like a detached witness. Ask, is this feeling serving me or is it draining my energy? This simple act of awareness breaks the shadow's hold and allows you to choose your response consciously. Building resilience through discomfort is also essential. The shadow often grows when you avoid pain or tough truths, but growth comes from leaning into discomfort, whether it's through physical challenge, honest conversations, or pushing your limits. Nelson Mandela's years of imprisonment were filled with suffering, yet he emerged with unbreakable resilience. You may not face his extreme trials, but embracing daily challenges builds mental toughness that keeps your energy from slipping back into shadow dominance. Support systems matter too. Surround yourself with men who hold you accountable, not to perfection, but to growth. True brothers don't ignore the shadows. They help each other face them. This community energy becomes a powerful shield against falling back into old habits. Seek mentors, friends, or groups committed to the same path of self-mastery. Finally, practice gratitude and purpose. The shadow thrives in emptiness and meaninglessness. When you anchor your energy to a higher purpose, whether it's family, craft, service, or legacy, you create a force stronger than any shadow. Gratitude grounds you in what's real and positive, cutting through the noise of doubt and fear. The path to maintaining sovereignty over your energy is not easy, but it's the defining journey of a powerful man. It requires discipline, honesty, and courage. But the rewards are immense: peace of mind, clarity of purpose, and a magnetic energy that attracts respect and opportunity. You've now learned the signs that your shadow no longer dominates your energy and how to keep your power strong every day. Remember, the battle within is ongoing, but so is your capacity to grow and transform. If this message resonated with you, hit the like button and share it with a brother who needs to hear this truth. Subscribe for more deep wisdom and powerful insights designed to elevate your life. And don't forget to comment below. I maintain sovereignty over my energy. Your journey toward mastery continues. Keep walking the path with strength and honor,